Hey YouTube, how you guys doing today? Kevin here coming back at you with another video. So we're working on this bike right here with the CDI, and on my last video I did a whole bunch of like little things. I made a jumper lead and all that stuff, and I was taking apart the wiring to confirm all my connections and everything else, and I learned something very important, that black wire actually had to go together. It's actually a ground. So I made a ground for. Actually, I cut this little ground piece right here, this little strap from the harness, and quickly soldered these two wires together. Okay, so get them all soldered up. So then I was over here taking apart the whatchamacallit there, the harness. This harness right here, and I'm so used to working on Kawasaki's, sometimes I forget what I'm working on. And Yamaha is a little different, but they also have something in common. The black and white wire, which is standard on most Japanese bikes. Okay? So not black wire. The black wire with the white stripe is your ignition. And I should have known that by the black and white wire on the actual kill switch that came from the bike. So sometimes even professional mechanics overlook the obvious. So anyway guys, hit that subscription button and let's get into it. Okay, so here we have the black wire, which is going to ground. Okay, typical black wire, ground. Black wire, ground. Black with white stripe comes back to all this. Where does it connect? Okay, where does it go? Well, let's take a look. So I followed the wire. The black and white wire. I have a couple of heat shrink tubes because I was in the process of making this, so I wanted to show you. It has the factory union that hooks up into black and red. Black and red have male and female ends on them, so as the ignition module has. Let's see if I can pull that out. The black and the red wire, male and female. So that is the wire that gets interrupted and grounded out for the kill switch. So I figured I'd show you guys that. So without further ado, let's get this thing into the, I put the spark plug back in so no debris got in there. So let's take that back out, just sitting in there. I always screw your spark plugs back in because you don't know what's going to happen. You could walk by with a bucket of parts or something, and a washer or something could just boop right in there. You never know. Always plug your spark plugs back in. Alright guys, so let's get you guys in the stand and let's get back on. This is part 2 of the CDI ignition. Okay? I can't wait to hear this thing. I want to see this thing work. Alright, so we have some wiring to do and all that happy jazz. Alright. So I don't typically terminate wires like this and have all three of them going together and soldered together like that. Typically they go in a series and I put an end on them. But we're going to use a little vacuum cap on the end. And then we're going to heat shrink them and see if it works that way. Because I'm not doing that again right now. I will fix it later on. But I want it to look okay in the process. So the vacuum cap is on there so it looks decent and protects it. A little bit of heat on it. Shrink those wires up. And that, my friends, is a perfectly good terminated connector. Okay, good. So we got that done. Alright. Let's just get this hose out of here real quick. Which way does it go? I think it goes in this way. I'm just going to put that in. That ain't right. I want to make sure that hose right there is not crimped off by the oil tank, because if that right there gets crimped off, that'll stop it for oil. Good thing I noticed that. That would have been bad. Can you imagine riding the bike like that, no oil? Whew. I think for safety, I'm going to put it on the other side. there. Alright. Ground is on. Ground is done. Okay, so ground is all set there. And now we have to go ahead and finish off our wiring down on the floor. Alright. So, what I've done was I'm going to take, this is what the factory connector looks like. I'm just going to simply slide over my heat shrink. Locate it right there, make sure it's somewhere in the middle, like that. And then just gonna heat it up. Shrink it up a tad. That looks good to me. Then I'll do the same thing down there. I had to use a red end. Like I said, this is just temporary for now until we get it all situated square, but it had the right end on it. Also came, I'm cutting up the factory harness that for all the parts and pieces. I just want to do this so I can make sure it runs right, I'm not shorting anything out, and I'm giving you guys all the correct information. Okay. Looks good. Looks good. Alright. So now that wire right there that I just showed you, that's going to go along the frame. Along the frame, plug into its adjacent wire, color matched, and then we're going to then plug that in the back. There we go. In here, between the two connectors. Okay, so we have the female one right here. And I'm literally just matching colors, guys. Black with the red stripe. Okay. So all the wiring is plugged in to the bike. Okay. Now we need to see if we have spark. Now is the spark test. Do we have ignition? I don't like this connector. It's like wicked loose. I'm going to change that. Alright. So I got the, I changed out the boot. I don't have the little rubber connectors on it yet. I just try to test fit it, you know, make sure it fits on there nice. Alright, so let's shut the light off and check this thing out. Let's see if we got El Sparko. Okay, sorry about the movement there, guys. Ready? Oh, look at that, huh? Now when we shut the switch off, I should have no spark. No spark. Spark? Yep. No spark. Okay, good. So we have no spark when the switch is off, and we have spark when the switch is on. So, there we have that. Okay, so now we get that part. So, I think the next step would be, will it run? So let's get that spark plug. I'm just going to throw the spark plug in there a little bit. I think there might be enough gas in the carburetor to fire it. I can't imagine it wouldn't be. If I have to throw a little bit of fuel in it, I can do that. Certainly do that. Okay. And there you have it, guys. Yeah, it's got a gas, but it's fired up on that ignition system. So there you guys have it. She started up on the what do you call it there, CDI. I'm gonna get the tank onto it, and we're gonna try running up. I know the carburetor needs to be cleaned because it's leaking. It's leaking out the overflow tubes. So we knew that when it had the points ignition on it. So I still have to clean the carburetor, which I'm probably going to do tonight or something. I might take it off and throw it in the ultrasonic cleaner. But guys, it runs. It runs. It ran pretty good. So there you guys have it. I put a little bit of fuel to it so I could fire it up. It runs, guys. It runs really, really nice. So now, what do we have here? We have a Yamaha gt80 CDI. Pretty cool. I just want to say thank you guys for your subscriptions. Thank you guys for watching, and I hopefully this video right here interests you and you guys learn something from it. This is a pretty cool thing that we're able to do with these older bikes. And now this bike is guaranteed spark. It's gonna fire up next year. You're not gonna have to worry about cleaning points. No maintenance, none, period. Done. Achalan, done. Okay, and I end up with, hold on a second, the parts and pieces to adapt that electrical system when I go to change this bike over and put the lights and stuff in it. Now I have the light wiring that I can adapt to the factory harness without cutting it all up. So that right there is huge. Okay, so to wire this bike up, it really wasn't all that bad. So the parts and pieces you're going to need: 1, electrical harness; 2, the flywheel; 3, the magneto backing plate there, the stator plate; 4, an ignition, the proper ignition coil; 5, the CDI unit. And then basically watching this video, and your bike too will be CDI. Couple of benefits to having a CDI on a bike is a smoother lower idle, no point float in the top end, and it's a little bit better when you're running these bikes. There's and you running them at low RPM. It's going to give you that spark where the mechanical switch would technically die out. So changing over to CDI is definitely a great thing to do. So if you get a chance to, go ahead and do that. If you haven't subscribed, please hit the subscription button. I work pretty hard on these videos, getting these out there for you guys, and your support really matters to me. So if you guys could do that for me, that would be wonderful. Alright, well, I'm off for now, guys. Thank you for your subscriptions. Thank you for hanging out with me and doing these videos. And if there's any information I can share with you, by all means, please send it my way. I'm out!